Buenos dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it, you already know. Like a motherfucking smack addict. Buy up, buy up. In a menudo style in direct fashion, we're going to get straight into the content of the day. But before we do, let's hit that like and subscribe button. Ding. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directing the direction of the dope content that the gun is kicking. And I appreciate the support, man. I'm very humbled by it. Thank you. I know I couldn't do without you. So about a week and a half ago, man, an interview was dropped. An interview was dropped on Soft White Underbelly with what is considered one of the most, probably one of the most anticipated interviews on YouTube to date, right? And the reason being, especially on the West Coast, the reason being is the information this man can provide, the history and the backstory of who he is in particular. And I mean, it's just a situation that if you know, right? And that is Rene Boxer Enriquez, right? And when he chose to do this interview after being paroled after decades, in the shoe, on the level 4 yards, behind them walls in prison, and being part of one of the most notorious organizations, allegedly, everybody was anticipating this guy to pop up and to hear what he had to say. And of course, he did. He popped up on Soft White Underbelly. And I think a lot of people were confused as to why. The situation was plain and simple. He has his own reasons in particular to give an interview to Soft White Underbelly. And I think he feels maybe it's part of his closure. Maybe it's part of him explaining why exactly he stepped away. It's part of him explaining why exactly he chose to go the route he chose. And nobody can knock another man. You could sit here and talk about it and talk about, why he should have did this or why you would have did that. But unless you've walked in them man's fucking state boots, you can't tell that man anything. I, for one, could never tell him anything. You can't tell him anything. There's nobody that could dictate another man's program like another man could dictate a man's program, right? But at the end of the day, man, everyone's going to have their own perspective and their own perception on who this guy is. So he told us in his own words. And I know a lot of people took this interview differently. When this interview dropped, man, I discussed it with Dubs, a friend of mine, and we talked about it. And, having done time with Boxer Enriquez as Dubs did, man, in the shoe, behind them walls, in a serious area, man, in a serious atmosphere, right? No one can tell you better than he can, having known the man personally, doing time with them, like I said, in the shoe program. That was a different type of situation there where they had to have their mug on mean at all times, right? So when we discussed it, and I told him, hey, I'm thinking about doing a video on my perspective on why I think he shouldn't have done the interview. And again, man, that was just my own prerogative and perspective. That man can do whatever the hell he wants. He's been doing it for decades, man, when he was on the good side of the yard and the bad side. So my perspective doesn't mean shit to him, I'm sure. But it was just my take on how I felt, the situation could have been avoided. And I think he was better off just pushing on and getting out the way of the life. And I know a lot of people clapped back at me and they said, well, Gunner, you're in that same situation. But no, there's not even close. I never was part of an organization like that. I never debriefed nor told on a lot of people and got a lot of people in a situation that they can't get out of. I never could compare my resume to his, and I would never try, all the bodies, all the what you were part of doesn't make you the man. It's the man that makes the particular organization, right? And in this case, the way he chose to defect and get out of prison was his own choice. And I don't think anyone will understand it. And in particular, me. Okay, so I chose to do my video, but Dubs told me he wasn't going to do a video. He didn't want to do a video just because out of respect for his interactions with Rene Boxer Enriquez and having known him personally. And I could understand that. Sometimes when you know someone personally, you've done time with them, you don't want to speak on their business. You don't want to talk about, what exactly you've seen or heard or what you know of. But eventually over time of people asking Dubs, over and over again to do his response to the interview, he decided to. And I have not got a chance to sit down and watch it. So I wanted to react with you guys and see it through Dub's eyes, right? You know, one thing that has always captivated me about Dub's channel, right, is that he's well thought out. He don't just say things to say them. You know, in particular, if he says it, it happened and it's a fact. He don't tell you fables or stories or place you in a situation in the story that he can't verify with facts. He's been there. He's done that. He lived that. And, you know, I can honestly say that he did time with Rene Enriquez, you know, and there's not a lot of people that could say that they've done that they actually viewed the man in his element, in his aura, right? At the time when he was actually that man. So let's get to it, man. Let's see what Dubs is talking about in this video, and let's react together, man. If you haven't watched it, if you have, then this is a flashback down memory lane, right? A recent memory. If not, you know, make sure you guys go tap into the Dubs channel and go trip out on it, because we're not going to view it in its entirety, but we're definitely I'm going to give you my perspective, and I'm gonna be objective. You know, I'm not gonna pick sides or you know, just roll with the homie because he's the friend, right? You know, I'm gonna speak on what I think is right, what is wrong. So let's go, man. Let's get it.
I said I wasn't gonna do this video, but here I am. Rene Boxer Enriquez. What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video.
And it's serious as fuck once you hear that theme song and the wrinkles in Dubs is right here in the middle of his forehead. When he starts wrinkling them, we about to have some serious conversation. I know. I talk to him all the time on the phone, and I can literally, if you listen close, you can hear his head wrinkle right before he says something, right? You got to listen close. Like I said, you could hear his hair grow and his head wrinkle all at the same time. All right. Uh-oh.
All right, you guys. So, as I said in the beginning of this, I've been asked over and over. It's been in the comments. When are you going to do that reaction to Soft White Underbelly with Rene Enriquez, with Boxer Enriquez, with Boxer? When are you going to do that? And I've said over and over and over that I'm not going to do the video, that I don't see the point of the video.
He did tell me that, man, as well, you know, that he didn't see any reasoning behind doing the video because Boxer did what he did, man. He chose to do an interview, and he didn't see the big issue or the big deal on this guy doing an interview. I mean, he's his own man. And the way he expressed to me behind the scenes was like, hey, man, that Vato's going to do what that Vato does. And whatever I say, whatever you say, or anyone else says, he's going to pay it no never mind. He's always been like that. He's a very intelligent person who makes the moves he makes when he chooses to make them. You know, does Dubs agree with every move Boxer made? I'm sure he doesn't. But at the end of the day, man, who's going to tell Boxer anything, right? Who was in a position to tell him anything?
And I listened to a few minutes here and a few minutes there. And then I listened to some more today. And a thought dawned on me, okay? Now, I want to say,
and I just want to put this out there for Dubs. A thought just dawned on me. And that's called pick that fucking lint roller up that's sitting over there behind your computer and dust yourself off and try again. Because I'm going to tell you right now, Vato, that t-shirt, that t-shirt, first of all, hang that motherfucker up or send that back to Pro Club because they did you dirty with the stretched out neck. Second, and even more, with a more purposeful and impactful force than anything, lint roller. All right, back to the serious conversation.
Hey, that I know Rene Enriquez. I know him, right? I was in prison with him. I know him. And this video, I'm gonna let you guys know right in the beginning. We're a minute and 16 seconds in. This isn't gonna be a video bashing him, bashing anyone other than to say this.
And I get that. I get the fact that he's not trying to bash Rene. You know, when you've done time with someone and you viewed them in that environment, you have a different take on them. People are different, right? And you see, I almost sounded like Charlie One there. Right? People are different. And when you're in an element with them and you build a bond, even when you don't think you're building one, because you've done time in the same yard, you've seen the same struggle, same hardship. So I could understand, man, not wanting to speak ill of this guy. And it's hard not to, though, with everything that he's been through and everything that he's done. So let's see how Dubs play this one out. Again, like I said, I've never watched this video yet. It's my first time watching it. And so far, it's pretty similar to a lot of Dubs videos. A little bit of lint, a little bit of creases in the head, and a whole lot of gain. Let's go.
Rene Enriquez didn't say anything in that video or that interview that hasn't already been said in other interviews, books, etc. And it's not what he said is not even going to be the focus of this video. With this video, I want to just put something out there. I want to, I always try to give people a glimpse into things. How can I give? That's what this channel is. My other channel is a reaction channel. We bullshit, we clown around, we have fun. This one, I want to provoke thought, right? And, sometimes people hear what I have to say and they're like, oh, he's glorifying. And it's very rare that people say that, but there are a few that don't get it. They can't wrap their head around what I'm saying. But, we have a specific content creator here on YouTube who's.
So Dubs is going to get us into specifics to be specific, right? And, again, man, we converse daily, me and Dubs, man. We talk about YouTube. We talk about family, about friends. We talk about people we know from prison or people we've interacted with. And we tell our stories and we keep them right here for the most part. Or we agree to do content and, hey, man, this will be good. We help each other. He helps me tremendously. I help him. It's just a type of a friendship we have. We're homies, hey, bro, guess what happened? This is what's going down. All right, I'm going to do a video on it. Help me with a thumbnail or something like that, But I know this. We are in agreement with a lot of what goes on YouTube. We get trolled a lot, hated on a lot. There's a lot of shit that goes on with me and Dubs that's very similar, right? For whatever reasons. But there are particular content creators we don't agree with and some of the things that they speak on for our own reasons, right? And I think Dubs is about to get into it. Let me see, man. I really want to see this.
Not from Southern California. Was never under the rule of that organization that rules those that are under the Southern California umbrella. I'll say that. And he likes to make video after video after video. And unfortunately, it's not just him. He's the main one, but it's not just him. And he talks about these old men. And he talks about these dope fiends, and he just, the disrespect that he shows to something he knows nothing about, and the only thing he knows about it is from people that were probably victims of that organization and of that group, people that have a bad taste in their mouth because of that group. And then the flip side of that is people say, oh, Dubs, you're trying to kiss their ass.
Okay, first of all, I think I know, and I think we all know, whoever watches the prison genre, exactly who he's talking about. And I agree with them, man. I agree with them, man, when I say enough is enough in certain situations. But again, man, we're men that dictate our own program and are in our own lane. And at no point in time can we tell anyone what type of content create or what to do. They're going to choose what they choose. You're going to make your bed. You're going to lay in it. Things will change around you, but some things will never change, if you get what I'm saying. And me and Dubs have discussed, this situation and this person he's talking about in particular. I already know who it is. And I agree with him, man. I agree with him. It's crazy to see the element of disrespect constantly displayed for people that are serious, right? That you would never, ever disrespect or put yourself in that situation in their presence, and to feel so comfortable to do it over a computer or behind walls, right? Behind doors is bumping baking soda breath on doors. It's basically J-catting out, and it's basically woofing, and it's all for monetary gain. Let's be honest with you. You know, a lot of this YouTube stuff, that's what it is. If I'm not, I'm gonna give you the knowledge you can't get in college. A lot of it's for monetary gain, and people are gonna say whatever and make you believe whatever they have to, so that way you tap in, so that way they can get money. That's what it's all about, man. You know, one thing I like about Dubs in particular is he doesn't glorify the prison life. He just tells you straight up how it was for him, not how it is for everyone else, but how it was for him. And that's what you got to understand. When his situation and my situation, we both did an extensive amount of prison time. He did over 24 years straight. I did 19 on an installment plan. But I could tell you, just like he could tell you, man, there's nothing beautiful about prison. It's not bad all the time, but it's not good ever, if you understand what I'm saying. So let's see what he's talking about here.
Don't kiss no man's ass. But I also know that I'm responsible for every single thing I've done in my life. You know, I hear people like that content creator and others like him who say you will get used and abused. Nah, you have a choice. You choose what you're going to do in there. And then you live with the repercussions. You know, these dudes that say, oh, well, you have to.
I agree with that. Exactly, man. You know, you're your own man. At the end of the day, you can't blame any other man for your push. You know, you can't blame any other man for getting put in the situation that you put yourself in. You know, and if you are, and if you do, then you're full of shit and you're fake, right? Because at the end of the day, you have to understand, from the womb to the tomb, right? It's all you. Every choice you've made in life, all the responsibility, that is on you, man. You can't blame other people. So when you're crying and whining on social media or anywhere else, you know, over, oh man, I got played. Oh, I got put in a bad situation. Hey, we've all been put in bad situations. It's all about your reaction to that situation. You know, I've seen some people bounce back and get harder and learn a life lesson. Then I've seen some people, just take it on the chin. It is what it is. But I've never tried to associate myself with people that whine and cry about the situation they put in. Not to say that I haven't in the past, but I've distanced myself from that because, you know, when you start making excuses start piggybacking at other excuses, and it's just a foolish thing, man. And birds of a feather flock together. And if you're kicking it with the whiner, you're going to be a whiner. So I agree with Dubs in this.
You do this, you could lock it up. You don't agree with it, lock it up. But don't choose to do it, and then when it didn't work out your way, then be mad at people, right? So there's that. You will never hear me use those terms. I grew up in a barrio where heroin was a main thing. And I've mentioned that repeatedly. When you grow up in a barrio where heroin is a factor, you know the difference at a young age between a tecato and a dope fiend. And calling somebody a dope fiend is super disrespectful. And the dude that's doing the majority of it on YouTube is a fucking former dope fiend.
A few inches later, and just a few from what I hear. Look, to be honest with you, man, who are you, even if you're an ex-dope fiend, tecato, who are you to speak on anyone else's problems or anyone else's issues, right? Especially when you know the hardships of them issues. When you've been in that position, why would you step on someone's toes or belittle them when you've been through the same trauma? It just makes no sense. I think Dubs hit a particular, and that wrinkles in his eye. He's upset like a motherfucker. Like he's thinking, you know, he's really thinking. And I understand the situation Dubs is in. Having programmed around organizations, especially in the shoe, locked up, you know, he watches what he says out of respect and out of knowing what the organizations are all about. We choose, myself and Dubs, to not speak on certain things. There's a reason for that. And it's not because we're afraid or we're scared, because it is what it is. It's more so out of respect and out of knowing, you know, the viciousness of nature, of being around the type of people, and also carrying yourself like a man and knowing that you would never say anything like this to these guys' face, man. I mean, if you got put in a situation where you had to do what you had to do, of course, you're supposed to be a man and do it. Doesn't mean you're scary because you don't. There's just certain things you don't touch on, man, if you love your family, if you love your life, you know, and just being respectful. So let's get to it.
But what I wanted to point out is this. In watching the video, the interview on Soft White Underbelly, and I didn't see the whole thing. I got far enough into it. And when I listen to it, I'm trying to not listen to it as myself. I'm trying to listen to it as if I didn't know anything about that world or those type of people, right? And I also take into account things that I read. When I've done other videos on Renee, I've done videos on Boxer, and there's always the same thread. He sounds very intelligent. He sounds like a professor.
There's no denying that fact, man. Any interview you've ever seen with Boxer, any time you've seen any type of social media video, that is the narrative, man, that he is very intelligent, that people think that he is unusually intelligent. But the crazy part is, having done time around some heavy hitters and some people from all sides, right? The intelligence they display, the way they conduct themselves, bar none, is uncomparable to a lot of people, man. It's these guys, you wouldn't even understand the level of intelligence they possess. And it's crazy because people are like, then why are they in that position? Hey, just because you've done you've been involved in criminality, you've done made criminal moves, you've stolen, you've done whatever you've done to get yourself incarcerated, doesn't mean education stops. It doesn't mean you stop striving for education. You know, now you have all the time in the world to feed yourself knowledge. And a real man with understanding understands that he's never done understanding, right? And so yes, Boxer does have a level of intelligence and IQ that's probably higher than most, or he's able to articulate better than others, right? But at the end of the day, man, it would blow your mind some of the other individuals involved in the prison system within groups that probably are even a little bit smarter. It's a trip.
He sounds very educated. That's why I did this video. I don't know, people that have never lived that life, never been around those people, they listen to these dudes who are part of that same circle. We're never around those people. Never. They might have done something with somebody from up north and that circle, and that's fine. Then they can speak from that experience. But when I hear Renee Enriquez speak, I've conversed personally, face to face, with many legends. And it's not surprising to me when I hear the intelligence that they speak with.
Exactly. And me and Dubs are in the same book, on the same page in the same book, right? And I think that just comes from doing time and doing time in a real way, right? Where, just like I just said, man, he's not, it's nothing shocking to him having been around those individuals, man. He knows the level of conversation, the level of intelligence they possess. So for the regular Joe Schmo, the regular person, man, that hears Boxer speak, it's like, wow, how can they talk this way? That's just normal, Holmes. You know what I mean? You have to conduct yourself with professionalism and display a level of intelligence, man, that no one can compare to. Let's just say that.
See, these other people, these disgruntled employees, these bitter Bettys.
Bitter Betty. I love it.
That they couldn't make the cut and they want to blame someone else. They want to paint a picture of somebody who is uneducated and just slimy and that wasn't my experience. Did I like every one of the legends and when I say legends, let me just go back and reiterate.
Now, this is going to be a great point, man. Dubs gets a lot of criticism on YouTube for using the term legends. Now, I know the reason he uses it. And I think he's going to let us all know right now. People think that Dubs is biased towards the southern side. You know, I've had plenty of conversations with Dubs. He's a good friend of mine. I grew up in Northern California. He grew up in Southern California. He went to YA as a South Sider. I went to YA as a Norteño. He went to prison, you know, in the Southern, with the Southern raza. I went to prison with the Northern raza, right? And then along the lines, man, we found each other here on the YouTube Yarda, man, and became good friends, right? Let me explain something to you. We've never, ever had an argument over what's better, North or South. We agree upon a lot of things and see things for what they are, right? You know, he agrees and we agree that, you know, the Northerners are about their business, man, but just don't have the numbers comparable to the Southsiders to really maintain the yards like they would want to, right? And we understand coming from both sides, man, that, you know, just the hardships that each group goes through, because there's hardships on every side. You know, with Northerners, it's the number game, man. It's the keeping each other to a certain code of conduct, having to be, you know, as disciplined and as structured as you're supposed to be. Whereas on the Southern side, man, it's a lot of, because of the numbers, the abundance of numbers and the abundance of soldados on the yard. There's always going to be a lot of politicking within each other, you know. So there's a lot of hardship that goes on. But when Dub says legends, he doesn't just mean legends from one particular side. People like to say, "Oh, he's a Southern sympathizer." No, he's always going to have that Southern flavor. He's always going to have love from where he's from. Can't knock no one from that. I'm wearing red right now. Why? Because I'm from Northern California, and it's a color that I'm used to wearing. Man, it doesn't mean I'm still trying to be a gang member or flaunt or display colors. It's just fucking comes natural, you know. Whereas in Dubs, you don't really see him in red. You see him in wearing gray, black, blue. It's natural to our element and to our environment, man. But when he says legends, he doesn't just mean one side. He gives it's a respectful term given to everyone who has achieved that level within prison. You know, that's just that.
And remind people, when I say legends, I'm talking about all the factions.
Exactly.
When I'm talking about a specific faction, I think you can tell by the sentences that I'm using, right? The story that I'm telling. And when I say right now, I have met legends. I've met legends from every faction. And I don't care what faction it is. If you have made it to that status, you are an intelligent individual.
You have to be intelligent. You have to be intelligent. But let's look at it from both sides of the coin. Is it intelligent to be in prison? Absolutely not. There's other things in life we could have been doing, but a lot of us come from different types of circumstances. Circumstances where that's all we seen growing up around us. We thought it was normal. We thought it was natural to create chaos and be involved in crime, right? And then you have a situation where people are greedy and just they don't have no delayed gratification skills. They want it now, right? And so they go out and take it, or they go out and get involved themselves in a situation. Regardless of what you choose to believe, there is a lot of intelligent people incarcerated. They just made an unintelligent move for whatever reason. And it doesn't mean they're dumb or stupid or have no common sense. It just means they made a mistake. Mistakes are freely given and freely made, right? But you could change. I've changed. Dubs has changed. So many others have. And I respect those who have made change. But I don't respect those who shit on people and don't allow them the chance to make change. That's just the way it is. So yeah, there's a lot of intelligent people. Is prison the most intelligent world? No. You know, everyone there has made a mistake or made a choice, the wrong choice. But it doesn't particularly mean they're all bad people and they can't be salvaged.
I've told the stories where if you can kill, that's easy. If you're a robber, that's easy. Like, all the physicality is simple. It's easily controlled and manipulated by those with the intelligence to do so.
I agree.
The legends of every faction, every group, are those with a lot up here that can run circles around 99% of criminals and convicts. And these dudes that get on here and talk about that shit and talk as though they are intelligent expose the weakness of their mind and the lack of intelligence and understanding of that in which they speak. You know, I've said before, when I hear content creators on YouTube talk about the legends that control the South, and yet they are not of the South, or even sometimes not even raza, when I hear what they have to say, I immediately can see the holes in their thinking and the holes in their stories.
Make sure you guys tap into this full video on the Dubs channel, man. And it is called Rene Enriquez Interview, My Response, man. And Dubs is airing a lot of shit out in this video. I'm going to end it right here, man. I think Dubs spoke with intelligence. I think he spoke real. I think this is probably one of the realest videos I've seen from him in a very long time. And I enjoy, man. I enjoy. Make sure you tap into the Dubs channel as well. I enjoy his reactions, the Strength Cartel, the Big Boy, the Wes Watson stuff. It's fun. It's entertainment. And I know it comes from a good place in Dub's heart, where in particular, man, he's just trying to do his thing, have a good time, entertain, and at the same time, put you up on game on how to not be manipulated by these type of individuals that are trying to scam you, right? At the same time, and this video to this interview was spectacular. I agree 100% with what Dubs is saying. Educate yourself. Go watch that video if you want to educate yourself into the mind of who Rene Enriquez is. You're not going to get too in depth because he only puts so much out there. But it's a mind to explore. I won't say a great mind to explore because I've never met him, man, to speak on his greatness or just because you went to prison and you hurt people or you got caught up on crime doesn't make you a great man. It's what you do in your life to help is what makes you a great man. Myself and Dubs are trying to be great men. We're on that path and we appreciate all the support we get, man. So that right there, man, is my video of the day. I hope that you guys appreciate it, respect it, man, and go tap into the Dubs channel, man. Show them some love. Go like and subscribe. I appreciate all the love that I'm getting. Thank you. The gun.